My name is Rastko and I'm coming from Serbia.
Alors, Lasco vient de Serbie. Lasco vient de Serbie.
So, 25 years ago when MIPIM started, that was 89 and the fall of communism.
Alors, quand il est arrivé, il y a 25 ans, quand le MIPIM a commencé, c'était la fin du communisme en Serbie.
Cécile, je ne suis pas pour qu'on fasse les traductions en français, on en a pour 2 heures.
D'accord.
Il faut vraiment qu'on continue la conférence en
There's
anglais.
no time. Okay, I'm sorry. So, Serbia was a country that was very responsible for starting 4 wars. And which ended first in 1995 and then in 1999. So since then, we have seen in all the countries of ex-Yugoslavia, we have seen the same process. So it's been rampant privatization, the emergence of oligarchs who were involved in the wars, who profited from the wars. At this year's MIPIM, the Prime Minister Aleksandar Vučić is bringing the program. It's a master plan for Belgrade, which is the capital city, and it's called Belgrade on the Water. And they are going to market it here directly as the Serbian government and the Serbian state. The Prime Minister's career is a long and illustrious one, and he was directly responsible for some of the things that happened in the 90s. We now have the use of such a master plan for party political gain, and it's a well-known fact that in the countries of ex-Yugoslavia, the state is a party state. Every time you have the elections, a new party forms the state and the bureaucracy and so on. So these processes cannot be looked at separately. And Prime Minister Vučić has allegedly secured $3 billion worth of United Arab Emirates investments, which is to build a new opera, a second opera, which is to build luxury housing, which is to build another shopping mall right on the river. Belgrade doesn't need another opera. Belgrade doesn't need luxury housing. It has a society which is under collapse. We have people who haven't received their wages in 6 months. We have massive disparity. We have increasing homelessness, illiteracy, so many issues, which the same government which is promoting this program and this master plan has not dealt with. So I'm here to invite the government and the Serbian state for this. I don't want to speak anymore, and maybe I'll pass it on to the next person.
My name is Jacob Wills. I'm here from the Radical Housing Network, which is a new network in London, which is attempting to work cross-tenure. It's the first time in a while that organisations active around housing in London have come together to work across tenure, and that's extremely important development. And I'll explain why quickly. I myself am a private renter. I rent from a private landlord. I have very little security of tenure. I've been evicted myself and had landlords steal a lot of money. For me to work in my local organisation as a private renter against some of the issues that I face, though it could give me some transitory protections, would not really result in the sorts of changes that I need, because at the end of the day I don't want a private rented sector to exist in the UK housing market. What I would like to have for myself and for everyone is for secure council tenancies. And for that we need a much broader movement across the UK and across tenure, which seeks to protect and win back some of the things that we've lost over the last 25 years when MIPIM has been active. And further to that, in fact, as today demonstrates, I think it shows we need an international movement against this sort of property speculation. In the UK, we have built almost no council housing in the last 20 years or so. We've had massive sell-offs of a number of million of council homes, starting with Thatcher's right to buy policies and continuing with sell-offs into not-for-profit private landlords called housing associations. Now, a number of those housing associations are here today, and they are more and more operating as standard market operators, selling off housing, running developments purely for a profit maxim and evicting people wholesale. We've got that in numerous boroughs across the city, and today we're specifically accusing 3 of them, Brent, Hackney and Southwark, all of whom have engaged in council sell-offs in which residents have been promised relocation in council housing and have then been dispersed across the city, and in fact even now into temporary accommodation, and then through that into the private rented sector in other areas. People are being displaced to Birmingham, to Hastings, to other places far away from the communities that have given them sustenance in the last decades. And this is being done, of course, at the whim of private developers who are raking in profits across London, which, as you will all know, is a haven for property developers who are here at MIPIM and making the deals right here that are creating these problems at home. The problems aren't just for these specific council estates, for Catalyst and for Genesis, the housing associations we're talking about today, and for the developers Berkeley Homes and Lendlease. These problems then manifest themselves in the rising rate of homelessness that we're seeing, in rising rates of repossession of homeowners when the rate of home ownership has dropped dramatically, although the government is really trying to boost that up. Now, at the moment, we've got part of the crisis, but when the interest rates rise, we're going to see the real high levels of repossession and a housing bubble actually bursting. The UK government and international governments are doing everything within their power to push that event further and further and further away. And they will manage for a while. And during that time, we will continue to lose our security of tenure so that profit can be maximised within the housing sector. But at some point, in the next decade, in the next 2 decades, the bubble is going to burst and it's going to get even worse for us. And that's why it's so important that we're organising today here internationally against some of this stuff. So I'm going to pass on now so we can speak about the specifics of the cases in the tribunal later. But thank you very much for that.
Bon, je vais parler en français. Oui, j'habite Cannes, je représente dans notre discussion ici ce qui se passe dans notre environnement immédiat. Oui.
I live in Cannes, and I'm here to represent the specific details of this region.
Et je dois dire que le MIPIM a bien trouvé l'endroit idéal pour parler de ce que nous dénonçons dans cette conférence de presse.
I used to say that MIPIM has chosen the ideal location to represent the interests we're against here.
Tous les cas qui ont été décrits tout à l'heure par Jean-Baptiste Thérault et puis par les personnes dont j'ai compris lorsque c'était traduit, sont représentés dans notre environnement immédiat.
All the cases that have been described hitherto are more than represented here at Cannes.
Par exemple, la destruction des sites, des terres agricoles, de lieux de vie qui représentaient une certaine harmonie.
For example, the destruction of sites, agricultural areas, and living spaces that represent some kind of harmony.
Cela se passe dans ce qu'on appelle l'Ouillenne, dans la plaine du Var, qui est du côté de Nice.
Well, it takes place in OEN, aside Nice city, 50 kilometers far from.
c'est la transformation d'une plaine agricole qui, jusqu'à l'immédiate après-guerre, donnait son autosuffisance au département des Alpes-Maritimes, avec une autre petite vallée, une rivière qui s'appelle la Siane, qui est pas ici.
So it was a land for agriculture until last year, and for long, for always, and it made the region self-sufficient in food and things like that.
Avec une agriculture de proximité, avec sans doute un art de vivre aussi qui était encore agréable.
So there was close agriculture and way of life and art of living, which was quite nice for people living there.
Et sous des titres pompeux, où le mot écologie est souvent utilisé, le maire de Nice transforme la plaine du Var en véritable béton. Il va y avoir des milliers de mètres carrés de commerce, de surface de bureaux, des parkings, des logements, mais très peu de logements sociaux en regard des besoins.
So this land, which was a countryside land, is going to be a land for concrete and for housing, but luxury housing, nothing for social housing, all for corporates, all for commerce.
Dans une ville, Nice, où il y aurait besoin de 15 000 logements sociaux, il y aura quelques peut-être dizaines, voire centaines, je ne pense pas, de logements sociaux qui sont prévus, mais qui seront largement insuffisants aux besoins des habitants de cette ville.
So Nice needs social housing for 50,000 people, and there'll be only 100 social housing after this operation.
Et là, dans la petite plaine de la Siagne, à Cannes, Mandelieu, ça a déjà commencé depuis longtemps, où il y a des projets, parce que pour l'instant ça ne peut pas aboutir car c'est une zone inondable, mais où déjà on a rendu l'exploitation de plus en plus difficile.
So even in places which by now they cannot be built because it's they are drawn
Protected land. Protected land.
protected. No, not protected because there is a risk of too much water or flooding. There is a risk of flooding, but they start with commerce already. So there's not yet a housing, but they're trying to have housing when it's flooded land,
Et
possibly flooded lands.
pour mesurer la gravité et le cynisme de ce genre de politique, il faut savoir que plusieurs paysans de cette vallée, dans la Siagne, ont vendu leurs terres. Quand je dis leurs terres, ce n'est pas les terrains, c'est la terre sur 60 ou 80 cm de leur terrain qui est partie en camion vers d'autres lieux, vers des résidences pour planter des arbres qui n'ont rien à voir avec l'environnement habituel. Bon, bref, c'est une destruction même du site et des capacités de production de ces sites qui est organisée.
And when farmers sell their lands, they're not only selling the land and the space, but also the ground for having some good agriculture land for other places. So they're taking out the surface of the land and taking it in other places for luxury housing and luxury gardens.
C'est donc véritablement, là, on a même l'exemple même du sacrifice du droit au logement, du droit à la ville et du droit à la vie tout court. C'est-à-dire c'est une qualité de vie qui disparaît et qui disparaît définitivement.
So we're losing not just the right to housing, but the right to life itself.
Et alors, bon, tout ça pour dire quelques chiffres. Dans un département où le nombre de logements sociaux est en moyenne de 8,5%, même si à Cannes il y a 17%, mais c'est en référence aux logements principaux, si on le rapporte aux logements secondaires compris, ça tombe à 10%, mais globalement c'est 8,5% dans ce département, pour une loi qui normalement devrait conduire la municipalité à 25% de logements sociaux. Et à Nice, avec les quelques poignées de logements que le maire a fait dans son mandat, pour lequel il demande un renouvellement, si la même proportion était faite dans les années qui viennent, c'est seulement en 2035 qu'on arriverait à 20% et en 2060 qu'on arriverait aux 25% qui sont prétendument nécessaires pour loger d'une façon satisfaisante la population. Alors, je voudrais ajouter autre... Oui, pardon.
By now, there are only about 8% social housing in the area where it should be, regarding French laws, it should be around 20 or 25%. Right now, it's only 8%. And you see they're trying to build more tourism houses rather than social housing. So expensive and luxury housing.
À ce phénomène de sous-production de logements sociaux s'ajoute en miroir et d'une façon, je dirais, cynique, le fait qu'il y a à Nice un logement sur 8 vacant. C'est-à-dire qu'il y aurait largement, en utilisant les réquisitions qui sont dans la première loi de 1945, de quoi loger les gens qui sont à la rue ou dans des logements épouvantables pour bien des familles.
12% of houses and apartments in Nice are empty, so there could be places for homeless people.
À ce phénomène d'absence, de manque de logements sociaux, s'ajoutent tous les autres que nous décrivait tout à l'heure notre ami, c'est-à-dire ce qu'on appelle la gentrification des centres anciens, c'est-à-dire, dans un but bien sûr spéculatif, des centres anciens comme par exemple celui de Grasse, qui était occupé essentiellement par des immigrés, par des familles, de revenus très modestes. Petit à petit, ces logements sont achetés par des classes moyennes dans un premier temps, parce que l'environnement, pour certains, n'est pas très plaisant. Et petit à petit, ces logements ils sont remis en valeur, et c'est tout le quartier qui est remis en valeur, et petit à petit, les classes populaires qui disparaissent et qui s'en vont grossir les quartiers périphériques.
So working class who used to live in city centers, they cannot live there anymore because all these areas are bought and given to richer people, of course not or middle class, but working class, they have to live and to go far away from the city centers.
Autre phénomène également que l'on trouve toujours ici, qui je sais existe à plus grande échelle en région parisienne et bien évidemment importé des États-Unis, là-bas c'est encore une autre dimension, c'est ce qu'on appelle les gated communities, c'est-à-dire ces quartiers entiers, aux États-Unis même, complètement fermés, où c'est l'entre-soi de la bourgeoisie, des gens aisés qui s'organisent.
And there is another problem is with gate housing. So this class of people who are completely closed and in between all together, but other people cannot come in. They organize themselves for other people not to be able to settle up in their areas.
C'est-à-dire que, contrairement à ce qu'il est souvent facile d'appeler un ghetto social, c'est les quartiers périphériques, en fait, ce qui existe vraiment, parce que c'est organisé d'une façon très ferme, ce que l'on appelle des ghettos de riches.
So after social ghettos and poor ghettos, now there are rich ghettos where poor people cannot come.
Et à Cannes, par exemple, il y a un exemple qui s'appelle le Cannes Grand Parc, où c'est impossible d'entrer si on ne connaît pas quelqu'un à l'intérieur. C'est fermé, gardé, une succession d'immeubles qui, en caricaturant, ressemblent un peu à un stalag, les mêmes immeubles comme ça qui se répètent presque à l'infini. On a l'impression qu'il y a un effet miroir.
Yeah, so you could see it in Cannes, which is Cannes Grand Parc. You can see it from away, but you cannot enter if you're not invited by someone who lives here.
Je ne voudrais pas finir sans parler aussi du sort qui est fait à une catégorie de notre population, qui sont ce qu'on appelle les gens du voyage. Je ne sais pas si c'est un terme un peu en anglais. Oui. Les gens du voyage qui ont un choix de vie qui peut ne pas plaire à tout le monde. je fais partie des gens qui vivent dans du béton, mais on peut aussi prendre du plaisir à vivre sur la route. Et c'est dans ce département, c'est un département qui leur est quasiment interdit, parce que alors que la loi, et on a l'habitude de dire que ces maires sont des hors-la-loi oblige les communes de plus de 5000 habitants à construire une aire de stationnement pour les gens de voyage. Il n'y a quasiment aucune aire pour recueillir ces gens de voyage.
And in this department, travelers cannot come in because there's no place for them to park their cars, to park their trucks. And well, it's against the law because in France, all cities who have more than 5,000 people, they have to build some park, some place to give some areas for travelers. And there are no places for travelers in this department.
Voilà, je vous remercie.
So I'm going to resume in 2 minutes the Portuguese reality. I'm going to try to be fast. It's not very different from Spain also, so you can have an idea of what we are facing there. We are facing now, impositions of Troika, that they obliged Portugal to change the law of the rental law in the direction of total liberalization of the private renting market, that it was before somehow controlled for old people and old rents. So now we have a total liberalization process, and this is the law of eviction, is like we call, because this law put the eviction in a very easy way to happen. Also, we are facing urban plans in the center in the downtown and in the center of Lisbon, with also the luxury, with the plans of luxury homes and hotels. You can see a figure there that you can see a hotel in every block. You have a hotel in the downtown of Lisbon, and we are facing now a huge transformation process of social and demographic composition of the downtown area. We are facing the rising of private rents, but also we are facing the rising of social rents, because municipalities, they have no money, so they go to social rents and they rise the social rents also, and people are having to lose their social housing. We are facing demolitions of informal neighborhoods. A lot of people still live in informal neighborhoods because they don't have access to housing in the market. So we are facing demolitions with mass eviction and with the expulsion of people without any kind of alternatives. And also we had 30 years of construction of a housing bubble, where people can get access to housing by credit. The higher the credits, the higher the price of the houses. Now we have a population, the majority of population is very much indebted to the banks, and now with the politics that are promoting unemployment, people are unemployed, they cannot pay the credits anymore, they are losing the houses, and they still keep a debt. We are here accusing the public company Stamo that participates in MIPIM, because this company is a public company that organizes huge speculation projects for urban areas. They buy houses and land, they approve plans, and after they resell it to speculators. And the transformation of the price is going to be huge, from 100 to 700,000 millions, and that's it. And their plans is always luxury houses, hotels, and this is promoted by the public company that is doing this. This public company also sells the social infrastructures of state. So is what it's doing. We accuse also the municipality of Lisbon because it's promoting very much all this urban transformation, and they are here in MIPIM too. And we also accuse a bank that is buying land where we have neighborhoods with more than 40 years old. They bought these 5 years ago or 4 years ago, and now the municipalities are demolishing these neighborhoods. The municipalities are working for the banks, and these banks own this land since 3 or 4 years. So is the resume of Portugal. I'm going to pass now to Oscar. Yes.
Bonjour, messieurs, dames, je dois me présenter d'abord. Donc, je suis le président de l'association Prales, Défense des Roms dans la région PACA, d'origine Rome, et en même temps leur porte-parole.
Monsieur Costa, qui représente les Roms dans la région PACA.
En anglais.
Mr. Costa, for Rom population in this region.
Donc, je me présentais ici pour montrer un petit peu la situation des Roms en Europe.
So he came here to show the situation of Rom people in Europe.
Tout le monde le sait, peut-être il y en a beaucoup de gens qui sont au courant que les Roms, c'est le seul peuple au milieu de grandes civilisations qui s'appelle Europe, qui se trouve dans la plus grande situation de précarité. Donc, il y a des milliers, des dizaines de milliers, peut-être même des millions, qui ne sont pas en toit.
So 10,000 Rom people don't have any roof, and well, we know about it. Most people know about it, and they are the major population in Europe who is missing a roof.
Ce peuple Rome, il est discriminé dans tous les pays d'Europe, donc il est stigmatisé, marginalisé. Le prétexte, ils sont qu'il manque l'éducation.
So Roms are discriminated all over Europe, and because it's told that they are missing, that there is a lack of education.
Maintenant, on essaie d'éduquer la prochaine génération, et pour ça, pour les éduquer, donc, ils ont besoin d'un toit.
So they are trying to educate the next generation, but for this they need a roof.
Donc, en France, et en Roumanie et partout ici, je voulais vous mettre au courant que la grande majorité des Roms, ils habitent dans des camps.
Most Roms in France and all over Europe live in camps.
J'ai amené un tableau ici pour montrer leur maison, leur belle maison.
This is where they live and how they live in Europe, the camps where they live.
Donc, on a réfléchi bien, on a dit que les majoritaires donc, de tous les pays d'Europe, ils ont raison qu'on doit éduquer nos enfants. Et pour ça, donc, on pense qu'on a besoin d'un toit. Et même les baraques qui les ont sur les camps, ils ne les acceptent pas, donc ils les détruisent. Sans solution de relogement en plusieurs cas.
So we know we need a roof, but when we have just a slum house, what is it destroying it? So we don't have anything. No, we don't have no more nothing, and we need some roof, even if it's a small house. But we cannot be destroyed our houses without nothing after.
Pour contrarier en remarque qui disent toujours que les Roms ils ont vocation d'entrer chez eux.
Ça, c'est pas ce qu'il dit.
Donc, je ne sais pas.